On behalf of the National Public Housing Museum, we thank you for tuning into our listening series, Out of the Archives. In each episode, we will share a diverse range of stories told by public housing residents, as well as those working in the field, from our oral history archive. Each episode features a different theme that responds to our mission to preserve, promote, and propel the right of all people to a place where they can live and prosper, a place to call home. Stories make up the backbone of any culture. They tell us who we are and where we are from. They create empathy and understanding, and they allow us an opportunity to share our experiences and learn from the words of others. The stories in this archive lift up the voices of an oftentimes marginalized community and create a space for important conversations to happen. In this episode, Play Ball, Sports and Athletics in Public Housing. Former public housing residents and housing authority workers share a range of stories about how late-night games of basketball would make a positive impact on communities and how diligent practicing could be life-changing. The storytellers you will hear from include Olympic boxer of the Robert Taylor Homes, Leroy Murphy, James Purgatorio of the Jane Addams Homes, the former director of programs of the Chicago Housing Authority, Gil Walker, and former WA superstar of Mon View Heights, Tanisha Wright. The stories span from 1943 to 1993.
My name is Gil Walker, and I'm the former director of programs for the Chicago Housing Authority. Vince Lane, who was the executive director of the Chicago Housing Authority at the time, happened to be in New York on a particular occasion. And Vince saw this program called the Midnight Basketball League and came back to Chicago and asked me to investigate the program. He thought it was a program that we could use here in Chicago. The reason being because at that time there were, and as is now, there were a lot of violence and antisocial behavior going on with young men between the age of 17 to 26. And so we were trying to look for some type of programs, if you will, that could service and deal with those guys on a positive level. So we were investigating all types of things to try and do. So I went to New York and went to Glenard, Maryland, to take a look to see what G. Van Stanford was doing. And I thought it was a wonderful program. However, it wasn't a program on the level that I thought that could benefit Chicago. Now, we used the same components that he did because he saw that crime was really prevalent between hours of 10 to 2. Why 10 to 2? Because young men, and then he saw that young men committing the crimes in Glenard, Maryland, which, by the way, was a close-knit Republican community. So the profile showed that between hours of 10 to 2, young men between the ages of 17 and 26 were committing crimes and that type of thing. Point being because between the ages of 17 and 26, young men, young women too, should be in the house studying, if you will, but most are out partying, having a good time, but some were doing negative things. I submit to you that if in fact you don't have anything positive to do between the hours of 10 to 2, you're going to do something negative. So G. Van Stanford used basketball to get those guys off the streets into the gym, and they saw a dip in crime in Glenard, Maryland. So now looking at all those components and statistics that he used, how is that program going to work in Chicago? First and foremost, we're very, very arrogant in Chicago when it comes to basketball. At that time, Michael Jordan was just getting into his groove in the city of Chicago. We have the Chicago Public League. We have all type of leagues, and we think that we play basketball better than anybody, any place else in the world. We're that cocky, we're that arrogant. So just using his model in Glenard and trying to bring it to Chicago would not work. You see, I cannot give a grown man between the ages of 17 to 26 a t-shirt and tell him come on in the gym and play. There's all kind of leagues going on in Chicago. So why is he going to come to the Midnight Basketball League? So we sat down with Dr. Shakira Addams and her staff and me and Vince Lane, and we came up with a proposal. And the proposal was the Chicago Housing Authority Midnight Basketball League, the best basketball league in the entire country. So what we decided to do was, if in fact we go pull these guys off the streets into the gym, we got to bait our hook better than anybody has their hook baited. We gave the guys brand new shoes. We gave them socks, warm-ups, jockstrap, top-of-the-line uniforms, we did everything. And we said that we used the National Basketball, the NBA, as a model. Not because we was trying to put any ideas into these guys' head that if you get your game together, you're going to the NBA. But the NBA represents the very best, and they understand the NBA, which means that we go use the same rules, regulations, and guidelines that the NBA use, particularly when it comes to proper protocol and decorum and following rules, regulations, and the guidelines. You say if you mess up in the NBA, you out. You get caught with drugs in the NBA, you gone. If in fact you commit a crime in the NBA, you gone. If in fact you are mouthed out to the coach, you fired, you gone. And so we put all those standards into the Midnight Basketball League and adopted our rules, regulation guidelines that gave each one of those ball players a contract. They had to sign those contracts. They signed a contract that they would do everything possible to be a good citizen. They're going to provide for their family. They're going to look for jobs. They go do this. They go do that. We put all that in the contract. And we put the things that we were going to do in the contract. We're going to provide uniforms. We're going to provide coaches. We're going to provide instructions. We're going to provide guidance. We put it in there at the end of every basketball game. You got to go to a mandatory workshop. In that workshop, people will come in and give you information about how to help you to become a successful person. In any case, now we're getting ready to do the program, and we want to put a pilot together first rather than go to all 21 housing developments. You know, you got 21 family housing developments from Cabrini Green on the north side to Altgeld Garden on the south side, and all that in between. So we wanted to put a program in each one of those developments. But we couldn't all do it all at one time because we had to do a pilot program to work out all the kinks to make sure that the program was successful. Now we could kind of do a cookie cutter approach and do everything in each one of those developments.
Tanisha Wright. I am an assistant women's basketball coach at UNC Charlotte. Basketball is the one mainstay that everybody has and that everybody connects with. So we all play basketball, whether you were good at it or not. You know what I mean? You kind of connected through basketball and other sports as well, but I think the main sport definitely was basketball, because as a kid I played football with my friends, kickball, but really we all play basketball, and either you grew from there or you didn't. So that was just something fun. Me and my friends, we would play basketball all day, every day, before school, after school.
Definitely all day.
Yeah, any chance that we can get. So my love really grew, as a kid. Growing up in New York, obviously basketball is huge. So, going outside, that's all you see, that's all you really know. So it was around for me since I can remember. If you wanted to play, you had to play with the bigger kids, with the older kids. I mean, I was playing with kids when I was in 8th grade, probably even younger than that, 6th, 7th grade, that were already in high school. You know what I mean? And that's just, if you wanted to play and play for real, that's what you had to do. But, my friends and I, we would get our 5 together and we would travel to other places that we knew people played basketball too. So it wasn't just like we were in Whitaker all the time. No, we would take our 5 or 6 or however many we had, and then we would go, to Homeville and play people in Homeville, or go to other parts of Whitaker and play people down there and different stuff like that. So, I mean, basketball was that was our mainstay. That's what we knew, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was an everyday, it was a lifestyle for us. It wasn't just something it was a lifestyle.
James Purgatorio, probably in 6th or 7th grade. I really spent most of my time with my grammar school friends. And, what we did, as I said, spent a lot of time playing baseball in the summer. And we used to go swimming at the YMCA during the summer. And in the evening, played softball at McCarran. And we were all pretty close friends. And a guy by the name of Jimmy Pacenti, who lived on Bishop Street, was my best friend. And there were, a number of other people up and down Bishop Street that, we were close with and friends with. And Jimmy and I also, it was an era when professional boxing was very familiar or very popular. And Jimmy and I spent a lot of time talking about Rocky Marciano and all the fights and exploits and so on. And it was also a time when boxing was so popular that at the movie theater you could go watch the event and see the boxing match there. And it was also on the radio, so we used to, follow that as well.
And I'm Leroy Murphy. When I grew up, I used to always watch boxing on TV. I used to watch Victor Galindez and Muhammad Ali, and I used to watch boxing. I was thrilled with boxing. Mm-hmm. And, that was my sports. So as I grew older in Robert Taylor, I went to Heidecken. And going to Heidecken, I ran across lots of bullies. And they was bullying me because I was a new kid on the block. I thought I was tough, and they showed me different. So I had a teacher named Mr. Young in 4th grade. He used to let me leave the school at 3:10 every day. He said, boy, you got 5 minutes to get out of here before they get you. So he used to let me leave at 3:10 every day. So one day, the guys didn't come to school one day, so we had recess. I had no problem. So I got out of school that day, he let me out 3:10, and they cornered me. And I said, ooh, what I'm gonna do? And I was just scared. So I finally broke away these 2 guys, and went up in the building, came back down. Another guy, bully named Ralph Spraggins. This guy wanted to beat me up, because I used to bug him all the time. Told me, you can beat me. And a friend named John came down and said, why you running from him? I said, that boy gonna beat me up. He said, you could beat him. I said, I could. He gave me self-esteem that I can beat this boy. I said, yeah. So me and him got in a fight. I beat him. After that, I ain't no problem no more with nobody. Then I had a problem with these other 2 guys, Casdale King and Juicy. So this other guy named Norman said, look, Leroy, these guys can't beat you. You can beat them. We didn't get in a fight. We had an argument. That was it. Next day, Norman told me, I'm going to take you to my gym, One Word Garden. He took me to One Word Garden. I was in 6th grade by then when he took me to the gym. And I met the coach over there, and it was something different, because I never been out of no farther than Heidecken to the building. I never went out the neighborhood because I was still young. So after a while, I started going to the gym, and one of the coaches' son was training, and he needed a sparring partner, and they let me spar with him. I ain't never boxed a day in my life, and I beat him up. Since that day, as I got in 8th grade, freshman high school, I became a popular person once I got in high school, because I was boxing. I was 15, 16 coming up. At the age of 16, I won Chicago Golden Glove as an open fighter. I was one of the youngest fighters in Chicago to win open title. From there, I moved up, started moving up in weight, and I became one of the best fighters in the city. They did a story, a magazine called Chicago Magazine did a story on me there, and it was different. And after that, I got a part of the Olympic team. The first Olympic team I made was, I was 17. I was a junior in high school, and I made the 1976 Olympic team. I knocked 4 guys out, getting to the semifinals. Then I ran into a guy named Keith Boone from the United States Air Force. He beat me split decision. After that, I was ranked number 3 in the world as the best amateur in the United States.
So we started off in Henry Horner and Rockwell Gardens. Now, we were going to do 8 teams in Henry Horner and 8 teams in Rockwell. We were only going to do 10 guys on each team. Why 10? Because this is a basketball program, and it's not based on ability, it's based on guys who want to come out and be engaged in the program. So, only 8 guys on the team. 8 teams and 10 guys on the team. And only 10 because the first 5 play the first quarter. Then they sit down. Then the second 5 comes in to play the second quarter. Then they sit down. The third and fourth quarter, the coach can do whatever he wants to do. But you got to be able to let everyone participate in the program. Unlike other programs, guys will sit the bench the whole game and that type of stuff, and they lose interest. So now, we put flyers out in all the communities, all over the city. We can start this program in Horner and Rockwell, okay? And you have to be a resident of the Chicago Housing Authority. So you could come from Marlboro Garden up to Cabrini Green and play in the Midnight Basketball League. Everyone said that ain't gonna happen because of gang factions. Nobody's gonna be coming from Robert Taylor coming to Henry Horner. Well, we put those flyers out and strange things happened. I looked around, I had about 400 guys in the gym. 400. Guys who are unemployed, disenfranchised, some guys in gangs, some guys not in gangs, some guys graduated from high school, graduated from college. I had lawyers, I had attorneys, guys between the ages of 17 to 26 wanted to play. So now, how do you get down to 80 guys? Well, we did the same way pro teams do. We took them through a boot camp. And girl, by the time I got through running and making guys do jumping jacks and sit-ups and so forth and so on, some of them just say, I ain't going. This man is crazy. I call a practice session at 5 o'clock in the morning. You got to be on time. If you're not on time, you got to mark your name. Do that twice. Now, through attrition, we get down to maybe about 100, 110 guys. Now we start assessing basketball ability because you don't want to put all the good guys on one team, okay? And what we wanted to have parity throughout the league. So we did a draft, okay? And at the draft, just think about the NBA. Everything the NBA do, we do. Gave them caps with the name on it. I use authentic NBA uniforms. So now, when you see the Chicago Bulls, when you see the Golden State Warriors, Chicago Housing State Golden State Warriors, we got their actual uniforms on. And what I'm going to do is make sure that I donate some of those uniforms to the museum, because I got some. In any case, I did everything. I mean, even the basketball that we developed. Okay, we got our own brand of basketball, and I assumed the title Commissioner Gil Walker, so my name is even present on the basketball. We wanted to make sure that these guys took ownership of this particular program, and by taking ownership of the program, you protect the program. You make sure that it works. So now we get ready, and we get ready to open up our Midnight Basketball League. And so I wanted to have a grand opening. I wanted to have all 160 teams under one roof. I wanted to introduce this program to the public, if you will. So we didn't have it over at Horner or Rockwell. We had it at Malcolm X College. We invited the media, invited everybody to come out, that type of thing. And girl, it was jam-packed. And just so happens on that particular day, that's my phone, I'm sorry. On that particular day, Kemp, was the regional director. I mean, he was the head of the housing authority, Secretary of Housing. 60 Minutes was following Jack Kemp, profiling him. And he happened to be in Chicago on that day. So Mayor Daley invited Jack Kemp to come to the opening of the Midnight Basketball League, along with Vince Lane and other elected officials and that type of stuff. So now we got national TV there. And girl, that next morning, I was on Good Morning America. I was on the Today Show. I mean, it took off. It really, truly did. Simply because we finally found something that young men between the ages of 17 to 26, I submit to you that if, in fact, I don't have anything to do, I'm 17 to 26, I'm hanging out in the community. I'm just standing outside on a hot summer day, not doing anything. I might get into some trouble, But now, if I'm going to see a Midnight Basketball League game, I can take my girl there. Sure, I can take my kid there. We have to stop the guys from bringing their little kids there because we're saying, wait a minute. They got to go to school the next morning. But mothers and fathers was coming out to cheer for their kids and that type of thing. I had parents tell me, and even ball players tell me, Coach, Commissioner, this is the first time my mama has ever cheered for me. I don't care if you could play basketball or not, okay? You got a spot on the Midnight Basketball League. We took team pictures of all the guys. We got a yearbook with all the guys in the yearbook, so all that. Just think about a first-class college program. We convinced the powers that be, the Chicago Housing Authority, let's invest this type of resources into these young men, and it paid off.
Once again, the NPHM thanks you for listening to this episode of Out of the Archives. This series is supported by the Institute of Museum and Library Services, the Illinois Arts Council Agency, Illinois Humanities, the Kresge Foundation, and the Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events. This episode was engineered by Seth Engel at Palette Sound. We'd like to give one last huge thanks to our storytellers, Leroy Murphy of the Robert Taylor Homes, James Purgatorio of the Jane Addams Homes, Gil Walker, the former Director of Programs at the Chicago Housing Authority, and Tanisha Wright of Mon View Heights, as well as the members of the museum's Oral History Corps and other Chicago oral historians who helped to gather these stories, including Francesco De Salvatore, Ashley Jefferson, and Shakira Johnson. Thanks again for listening, and we look forward to sharing more stories with you next month.